forget to say that I'm with I'll never get used to you.
Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Live from Sunset Gower Studios, The Amazing Hour with Joanne O'Brien and Sabrina Johnson.
There's a power here within me. There's a strength that's deep inside. If I'm willing to be willing, the field is open wide. And I know I have the courage, so I push my fears aside and allow these words of truth be heard from every mountain high. I am amazing, I am amazing. There's nothing I can't do. I am amazing, I am amazing. And you're amazing too. We share a vision, we share a dream. Are you ready? Slow and steady, we are making history, 'cause we are amazing.
Everyone, to our 13th episode of The Amazing Hour. We are here at Sunset and Gower in the heart of Hollywood at UBN Radio Network. And we are delighted that you are here to share the next 50 minutes with us and having a wonderful time. I'm Joanne O'Brien, and
I'm Sabrina Johnson.
Let's see, Sabrina, what do we always start out with?
Well, we start with our amazing highlight of the week.
Highlight. I kept calling it a challenge all week long, and because it's been a challenge.
It has been a challenge, and that's the
But, yeah.
that's the real thing. It has been a challenge, but that's the highlight of it is that it has been a challenging week. And the thing I always think about is I think what is challenging now compared to when I look back, I think if I had one of these weeks even a year ago, I wouldn't have been here.
Right. You would have gone over the edge,
Yeah.
but now you are much more evolved, much more
Yeah.
educated, much more well-tooled.
Yes,
to
well-tooled
navigate.
and well-skilled, much more
Yes.
skilled, and it's interesting. And actually, I always am like wondering now, what will I get out of this afterwards? What would
What's
I
the
look
gift?
back, and what's the gift afterwards? And I know there's always something, and I always know that it's just to be alert for these opportunities, especially during these challenges, because these are like when the opportunities are like kind of like whispering, and so it's like just for me to have like better sonic hearing.
And I feel like I've taken you down a challenge road, but we were supposed to be talking about highlights. So give me a good highlight. I know you had a good highlight this week.
The good highlight. Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm trying. I know what it was. Oh gosh. Okay.
Are you taking my highlight?
No.
Okay.
No. But it kind of goes with a challenging week. But I'm learning so many cultural references because I seem to be like out of it. But every time we ask a guest something or we talk, and last week we had Julie Mannix von Zernick, and when we had our pre-interview with her, Joanne started talking about Patty McCormick, and they start talking about Rhoda. And I was going, now Rhoda, like in Valerie Harper. I don't know this Rhoda. Patty McCormick. Who's Patty McCormick? So afterwards, I said, Joanne, who is this? She goes, you haven't seen The Bad Seed? I said, no. So the highlight is our week was totally made in the office because we were playing exchanges back of The Bad Seed, of that little
Oh,
Rhoda.
I love it. I love it. I love
Those
it. I
are
love
my
it.
shoes. This is my shoe. And so we were laughing, but we were belly aching laughing because whenever anybody was acting up, we went up to them and said, give me those shoes.
Give me those shoes.
So that was like the highlight because you turned me on. We were just
Okay,
the whole
so
office.
just so you understand why we were talking about Rhoda is because when I had cancer and I had this big honking tumor in my neck, I named it Rhoda.
Yes.
So I named Rhoda The Bad Seed, and then we had chemo blow it off the end of the dock. So,
Yes.
but let's not go down that road. So here, okay, so that was your amazing
we
highlight.
just belly ached over The Bad Seed.
I know, it's such great stuff.
And
Oh,
now,
it's really
we're
good
going to
stuff.
have like a movie night. I mean, because it just became like
Well,
just
so
too
my amazing highlight, I have to share, and I'm so excited because we've been talking about it for way too long, is that we finally today released the amazing song.
funny. Yay!
Yes. And so the amazing song is now available. It's on iTunes. It's on Amazon. Go buy it on CD Baby because it's $1 more, and that would help me greatly. But you're welcome to buy it on iTunes as well as Amazon. And you can gift it to people. Somebody called me today and said, can I gift this song to someone?
great gift.
Absolutely.
With a great gift.
So you could totally gift it to someone.
That's great.
So so let's see. So what else? So that's kind of we do not want to procrastinate any longer to get to our divine, phenomenal guest. So I'm so excited today. We have an incredible person on. Her name is Samantha Bennett. And Sam, as we're going to talk to her, call her tonight, has a company called the Organized Artist Company. And, well, we're going to have her tell you a little bit about her. But she is all about getting unstuck and taking your creative genius and developing it from going from procrastinating to creative genius in 15 minutes a day. And I'm telling you, it really does work when I do it. Okay, so I have tried, and I do have a journal of Sam's exercises. And she's an entertainer and an actor and a speaker and an author and lots of great stuff. And I could tell you a million things. And she's part of, well, we'll have her tell you. Without further ado, Sam Bennett.
Yay!
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
So we're delighted that you're here.
I'm thrilled to bits.
Yay. Let's see. So you... First of all, thank you for coming all the way down from Carpinteria.
My pleasure.
It's really interesting because in Los Angeles, most people don't even want to drive around the corner because driving around the corner could take you 30 minutes. And you came down from Carpinteria, which is really up towards Ventura County. It is in Ventura County, isn't it?
It's actually in Santa Barbara County.
Oh, it's in Santa Barbara County.
Yeah.
It's that far.
Yeah, we're
Wow.
right over the county line.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
And we know that your book is very brand new, so that's one of the things we really want to talk about.
It's a 6-month anniversary on Friday.
6-month anniversary. Okay, so here's the book. We're going to jump right into the book, and then we'll backtrack and talk about how you got here.
Great.
If that's okay with you.
Sure.
It's probably up on the screen, but I'm going to hold it up anyway. It's called Get It Done. Okay, so both Sabrina and I have our copies, and we
Have them all marked up
we're absolutely loving it
and tabbed.
And I'm telling you, we were really impressed because Seth Godin reviewed this book. That's big potatoes. I mean, we were looking at the back going, wow, Sark is on here and Ed O'Neill and God,
Rachel
Drake. I mean, really cool people, Jennifer Lee. And then when we turned it back over, we're like, Seth Godin. So, how did this be? How was it birthed? What was the initial inspiration to writing this book?
The book started probably the same way the Organized Artist Company started, which was maybe 15 years ago. You know, I was an actor and writer, teacher in Los Angeles and doing the same thing that we're all doing in Los Angeles, right? I had a million part-time jobs and gigs and projects and shows. And
And the Organized Artist Company, just for people to know, that's your company
right.
that actually has a website and workshops, right?
That's right.
Okay, just so people know.
TheOrganizedArtistCompany.com, all the way spelled out.
Okay.
But it started with me teaching this class called the Get It Done workshop. And it was just one of a lot of things I was doing. You know, I would do it occasionally, and it was always really fun. And it was the idea was that it was always about helping creative people move forward. Because, you know, there's a ton of books out there about getting organized and using your time better. But, you know, creative people don't really care who's moved their cheese.
No, we really don't.
We really don't. And then there's a lot of creativity books out there, many of which are marvelous, but there are a lot about, you know, spiritual healing through creativity or unleashing your inner artist. And for those of us who are plenty unleashed already, thank you very much, you know, what do? How do we make a decision? You know, when we've got 37 project ideas, you know, how do you decide which one's the right one to move forward on? You know, when there's a million ways to promote your work, how do you decide what to do? How do you keep going when you get to that groan zone, you know, that middle part where it's really sloggy and hard?
So I just want to stop you for just a second, because this, I think, is revolutionary about your book. You're taking us out of the artist's way, Sark, all the spiritual creativity, healing, and you're saying, look, you're already a genius, babe. Let's go for it.
That's
so
right.
you're really moving us into a whole new direction.
So it's like stop questioning yourself and just do it.
Oh, for heaven's sake, exactly. The self-doubt thing's a killer. And I really do believe that everyone's a creative genius.
Yes.
You are a creative genius. Not everyone is artistic in the same way that not everyone is musical.
Right.
But everyone's a creative genius. If you've ever solved a problem differently than anybody else has ever solved that problem, congratulations, you're a creative genius.
Yes. I
How
say
about
that
it
to my
if
friends
you've
that are
created
mothers.
problems different than anybody
Oh.
else? I think that's creative
Yes, you
genius,
get double extra
too.
points for
Okay,
that.
thank
Yes,
you very
for sure.
much. Just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
But I do say that to my friends who are mothers, and they go, I have no creative outlet. I said, you're mothering. Your mothering is creative. You know,
Nothing's
and-
more creative than that.
Yes, exactly. So I think that everyone is a creative. But I love how you take this. It's a totally new twist of how you really say, you're creative, you're a genius, get out there, this is how you do it. And to me, it's like what you really did was you distilled all these wonderful gold bits into this huge, wonderful gold mine, where I know Sark says, you know, do a few things every minute.
Yeah, micro movements. Yeah, she
Micro
calls
movements,
them. Yeah.
micro movements, which I have to do because of my schedule. So I have to do that. And then also, you know, Zig Ziglar, who says,
we
you
love
know,
Zig.
yeah, and he says if it's worth doing, it's worth doing half-assed.
That's right.
So you have all these, like, you took this all together, and you took all my favorite people and all their favorite, you know, their wonderful theories, and you condensed it in a read that is just easy and applicable, and it's amazing.
Thank you. And really the idea is to ask a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions, there's a lot of exercises, there's a lot of inquiries there, because the fact of the matter is there's no right way.
Well, we know that just from how we landed doing this show.
Yeah.
I mean, we had no clue what we were doing, you know.
Exactly.
And we still aren't.
Right.
A
You've
little
got
challenged. But we get here, we have fun. My lipstick's on. Sabrina's lipstick's on. We're
Sometimes my
clothed.
teeth, sometimes not.
And fabulous people like you say yes to coming on the show. So we're doing something
And
right.
that's it. You're really, you know, you're making your way up the mountain with a machete. People who have the same kind of job, they all get to walk up one big wide road up the mountain all together, right? Mm-hmm. Artists, creative people, that we're, you know, making our own trail. So you've got a couple of, you know, tools as you go up the mountain. One is your intuition.
That's a biggie.
Really big one, right? To really sink down and really listen to that inner voice. I mean, has anybody ever had it steer them completely wrong?
No.
That's not my experience. Yeah, my experience either. I've never had anybody say, "Oh, I listened to my intuition and it was that turned out to be a terrible idea." I've heard the other one a lot.
Yeah.
I had this intuition of this, but then my logic said, "Oh no, take it. It's a good job. Do it for the money, whatever," and then it's a disaster.
So how do you marry the idea? So you're a creative person, so you want to have your creative projects, yet you're creating something to help other creatives. So if I might ask, what was the demonstration or the project that you used your own tools that kind of got you launched into doing this for other people? Is
Joanne,
that
that's amazing. No one has ever asked me that question.
I
And
love
it's-
it when I ask questions like that.
and I have an
Creative
answer because it's
genius.
very much where the Get It Done workshop came from. I was creating my voiceover demo.
Oh,
Right? And I'd done a lot of radio plays with LA Theater Works, and, you know, my on-camera career was going okay. My theater career was going great. I was like, you know, I think I'm ready to do some voiceover. So I got some good training, you know, got the demo done, got the demo out, got an agent. I was like, this is great. Like, you know, I had a budget. I invested a certain amount of money. And it worked. I was like, this is so satisfying. Like, everyone should have this feeling. And I knew I had a lot of creative friends and people who were sort of at odds and ends. They had trouble deciding on which project. They had trouble seeing the project through. So I wanted to create something that would really give them that same satisfaction.
Right. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, and it's fun when you complete something start to finish. I actually do the whiteboard thing now because I'm very visual. So I'll write stuff down and I'll target it. And then when I get to put a check mark, I don't even want to erase it. I'm like, can I leave this up till December just to prove if I have enough check marks on it? Maybe they're from 1982, but there's a check mark. I finished
my
it.
friend Laura Hall, who's the musician on Whose Line Is It
Oh,
Anyway?
yeah,
right?
we know her. She's
Love
great.
Laura. She has a to-done list.
To done list.
Yes, when she's completed things, she writes them down in a list.
I loved your idea
like that idea.
of
Isn't that
of a could do list.
Could do, yeah.
A could-do list.
And the other thing, when you talked about intuition, I thought that's very interesting because for me, I am very intuitive. And that's where I really move quickly. And you said, really, if you don't get something done, if it's like excuse after excuse, it's usually because you really don't want to. And I really listen to that because if I find myself, because in the morning, a lot of what you suggested is what I do, but it's just distilled. So I can really kind of like add to it and then kind of polish it. So it's even better. But in the morning, what I do is I do my morning pages, because I am already
good.
healed creatively.
Excellent.
So I do my morning pages, and then while I'm doing that, I have my other small pad of my could-do list. And it's like usually just things like, I want to send them a thank you card. I want to pay my my dental, insurance. I want to do this. And then somewhere is usually down the list is something like, oh, yeah, you're going to put in new sod in the front. So like that's going to be later, but that's like still up there. And so then I have that, and then I finish and then I meditate. And I don't look at those pages. It looks really messy. I don't care. Because you said it doesn't matter as long as it works. I not crumple it, but I fold it in half, put it in my purse, and I take it to work. And then I take it out, and I look at it throughout the day, and then I cross it off. And then at the end of the day, I have a new list.
There you go.
So it's like I thought that was like really what you kind of said was just very interesting. That was kind of similar.
And this started 15 years ago. So here you are. I love to ask this question. When you started this 15 years ago, did you have the vision of where you are today in your head? And is there a vision of where you actually wanted to go that you're on your way to? That you really are actually on target.
No to the former and yes to the latter.
Okay.
When I started, I had no idea. It was really, like I said, I was doing it, for 8 people in a church basement for $75 or something. It was really...
You and Julia Cameron.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It was just one of a lot of things I was doing. And although I do remember having a conversation with a friend of mine, I think I was probably complaining about not having enough money because I never did. And but I was talking about the workshop, and I was like, oh, it's this great workshop. It's really fun. It always sells out. Everybody really enjoys it. Everybody gets a lot done. I love teaching it. And he goes, you have a workshop that always sells out that you love, and you're not doing this all the time because...
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Because I process verbally, right? I don't always know that I've thought something until I've said it. And sometimes I don't know that I've thought something until someone says it back to me.
Right.
So he did me a real service in that point. So yeah, no, I had no idea what I was starting. And like I said, it was one of a lot of things I was doing. And then in 2009, I had one of those moments where sort of everything fell away. My incredibly busy, hectic schedule just went dead quiet. I had a project end. I was working part-time for a production company that laid off like 2/3 of their staff, including me. I had another project that I thought I was going to do not happen. Just all of a sudden there was this empty calendar. And I was like, oh, great. Now I'm going to have to go get another gig. And then I thought, I wonder if I could do this organized artist company thing full-time. And then I thought, I guess I should get business cards.
Oh, that's so. And then you just...
And I had nothing. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about anything. I didn't know about entrepreneurship. I didn't know about marketing. I didn't know about business. I knew nothing. But I've started to make my business to learn, and it turns out I love it. Love it.
And is that like you said, a few years later, that's when you made the bold move of moving out of Los Angeles?
Yeah.
I
You
love
said
the fact
that.
that you left that you had the courage to leave Los Angeles, because sometimes you just feel like if you leave, you're missing the heartbeat of it, but yet you said you stay more connected with people now because you're gone.
Absolutely. And I am so much better. I am a much better person now that I get to go for a beach walk every day, now that I live in this place that I love, now that I'm in this place that is a little bit slower
Right.
paced, where I don't always feel like my nose is pressed up against the candy store, like, why can't I have that job, right? I'm a much more peaceful person.
And so you were an actor and a comedian, and you were with
Second City.
Second City.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you miss doing that stuff?
Yeah, I do. And I still work sometimes. I mean, I still go on auditions. I still, I got a call recently. A friend of mine is adapting a Kafka novel into a play, and he's like, you must come for the reading. I can't do the reading without you. I'm like,
A
okay.
comedian for Kafka?
Yeah, right.
Comedians for Kafka. I don't know if we started a new organization.
Gregor.
But yeah, no, it's so I definitely, I still work. Absolutely. I miss being on stage. I miss, but teaching and acting anybody who says that teaching isn't acting is lying. I mean,
Absolutely.
they're very close.
Yeah, absolutely. Very
And I
close.
certainly don't miss driving across town at 4:00 on a Friday afternoon
No.
to sit in a room with 30 other women who look exactly like me
Audition.
to
Right.
not get a job that
To
I
not
wasn't
get a job,
that I wasn't
right.
going to get to begin with. Yeah.
And you
so
use your comic skills to really write. I
it's
mean,
a
you
lot
have a
of fun.
wonderful.
I have
you
a
do
much
that.
bigger audience now.
Yeah.
So
And when you said that you moved up there, you said that really how I remember when we talked, you said that your life kind of kicked you out of Los Angeles, and
It
you
did.
said that you really took your own advice in your book about when you're going through challenging times to relax.
Yeah.
And you really took your own advice by relaxing and just kind of going into it.
you got to go into it. And especially I think as we get older, those times of transition, we don't have them as often. When we're younger, it's like everything's new all the time. We get older, we get a little settled in things, and every once in a while something happens that completely blows you sideways, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden none of the rules apply, and holy bejesus, what's happening? And and at that point I say, you know what? At that point, throw a lot of gasoline, light a match, and see what else burns.
Well,
'Cause,
okay, so I want to ask you also. So I'm visual, so I get this idea of the organized artist company. And I get this picture of like this Martha Stewart existence of everything labeled and color coded and neat and perfect and in boxes that match and they're aligned perfectly. Is that what it is?
No.
Okay, good. I was hoping that.
No. In
Yeah,
fact, that kind of makes
so-
me break out in hives.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I
Bust
did-
the
I-
myth
yeah.
on what people have this idea, some, not all, of what organized really means. And then what happens is if it's not actually in your genetic coding to be that Virgo person,
Right.
then you're constantly swimming upstream and you're always beating yourself up because, your pencils aren't all the exact same height. I mean,
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
sure
it's
I'm not
like
the only person who thinks these things.
yeah, no, it really is like magazines are just designed to make us feel bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. Or everyone's a creative genius. Everyone is organized. Everyone
Right.
is organized. Everyone has organizational systems.
And you really point that out well in your book.
Yeah,
They may or
you
may
do.
not be good
Yes,
organizational
yes,
systems. Your
yes.
system may be I come home, I dump my keys somewhere, and then the next morning I spend 20 minutes looking for my keys. That's a system. It's not a good system,
Right.
but it's a system, right? So to start, and this is really the point of the book, is to start to pay attention to what are your natural systems? What do you do? Where, I know when I have this beautiful dish by the front door, I remember to put my keys in it.
Right.
Because it has a little home, and I like the idea that everything has a home. And look, now I get 20 minutes back in my life. I've got time to do my prayer and meditation work.
Right.
Right? So starting to notice, what are the systems that work for you? I am also very visual. So, if something goes in a drawer, it dies. So
I know.
I have to find ways to have things out without necessarily being a giant mess. But I don't care if everything's all perfecty schmurfecty, and I don't care if
Well,
things are a little messy. I mean, life is
I
messy.
had someone come in and feng shui my life. And she used the term active chaos.
Yeah.
And
Active
I
chaos.
love that
Yeah.
term, active
chaos.
chaos. So I just all the time I'm like, oh no, this is active chaos. This is the art of feng shui right now in my
Well,
my
and
home.
this is an important point though, because as long as things are in motion, as long as things are being used, they're the prime
Yes.
real estate is being used by things that are actually
Yes.
happening.
Yes.
Then you're fine. It's when when energy starts to eddy. Like
Right.
on a river, there's eddies, right? When you've got a bunch of clothes in your closet that you don't wear.
Yes.
When there's a bunch of stuff in your house that doesn't really apply to your life anymore, when there's a bunch of piles on your desk that haven't been touched in a year and a half, that's stuck energy.
Yep.
And it gives you that feeling. And I have a little theory that 3 and your day is shot.
Yep.
You get to the closet, you go, ugh. You look at the desk and you go, ugh. You get to the car and you go, ugh. Like, it's really hard to feel great about yourself after that.
When you have that, sure.
You know, it's just this little, it's not a big thing. It's not, we learn to tolerate these things. But on the other hand, when you go to your closet and it's filled with clothes that fit you and that you love, you're like, oh.
Exactly. It's so much fun.
You look at your desk, you're like, oh, marvelous.
And you really talk about that. Like, to me, that's really what your gift is with the whole book, is about how you really make people, first of all, you said something really, you said two things, which I love. What you said, the Chinese, they have a saying that when you name something, give it a name, that that's the beginning of like healing or something.
The beginning of wisdom is to call things by their right names.
Yeah, the beginning of wisdom is to call things by their, and I love that because that's really what you do. And what you do by calling things their right names, money, time, space, calling them the right names, then what you do is you move in and call it all what it really is, which is energy, and how do you use it. So you really do this in a way that's so masterful and easy for people to get. And also it's not shaming. And it's not didactic, because I am very much, if someone tells me I should, I instantly go, hell no.
Oh, yeah. No.
And you don't do that at all. You make it very much like, you really kind of like tease us into this. Like, this is going to be fun. It's really fun. And you really make it fun.
And, and here's the big thing is, you guys are doing great. You're all doing great. You're doing great. You haven't screwed up your life. You can't screw up your life. There's no way to screw up your life.
Say that again.
There is no way to screw up your life. And here's how I know this.
Yay!
I can prove this to you. No, I can prove this to you because there is no other life in which there's some other version of you leading a slightly better version of your life.
That's wonderful.
Right? There's only this one.
That's wonderful.
So we have to assume that this one is the best one.
Yes.
Because it's the only one.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, so I want to read something from here. Well, first of all, I love what you were
Yes.
talking about. Like,
Yes.
just one of the exercises that I love where you say, I hate dealing with money. And money is energy, right? So just change the word to love. I hate dealing with love. It just doesn't make any sense.
Or I hate dealing with baguettes.
You
Or
know,
I hate dealing with
yeah.
butterflies.
I hate dealing with
Butterflies.
creativity.
I
And
hate
if
dealing with
you're
creativity. I hate dealing with my friends.
So just
It's the same.
change
It's all
it up.
the same
It's
thing.
all the same thing. I want to know also, all right, so, you started this out. You started out $75 for people to come and be in a church basement. And then you started to evolve. What were some of, if any, because you really do seem very clear about things, and what kind of obstacles did you meet along the way? Were there anything that were mental blockers that you had to really re-language and reframe? Were there
Sure.
friends that you lost along the way because they were like, you what?
No, the friends have been pretty supportive.
Good, good.
A little mystified sometimes, but a little like, "Mer?" And you learn. There are people in your life who you should not talk to about your work. Not people love you, but
Yeah.
they're not your clients. They don't understand what you do. Your
Right.
family is probably falls into this category. Like, don't go to the empty cookie jar.
And don't expect them to read your book.
No, don't expect them to read your book.
Okay, I have to really get that through my head.
Do not expect them to read your book.
Okay, I really
Do
have
not
to.
expect them to even acknowledge that you wrote a book.
Okay, I thank you. I really have to get that.
No.
And I don't understand that, but I take it from you here.
Well, here's the thing. Your family is in your life to be your family.
Okay.
They're there to be your sister and your mom and to care for you in that way. And your friends, the same thing. They love you. And they're there to care for you in a very specific kind of a way.
Sure.
They're not your constituency. They're not your clients. They're not here to hear your message.
Okay.
Right? And in some ways, it's great to have people in your life who have no idea what you do or why.
That's true, because then
It
you have
really
more
is.
freedom, isn't it?
Yeah.
I really did think
They
of
love
that.
you for
Yeah,
who you
I
are.
think
They
that.
remember you from when you were 5. And,
Yeah.
it's fine. So, yeah, things I had to get over. There was, especially with the book coming out, one of the things I had to really get over was issues around visibility.
Yes, you
Oh.
said something very, very, very. For me, it was intense when you said did you ask yourself if it was okay to be famous?
All the years I was an actor, it had never crossed my mind that I might get famous. And not because I thought I wouldn't be successful, just because I think for most actors, we don't think of it that way.
No.
We're just working and we're just trying to work. As
Trying
a
to
friend
get
of mine,
health insurance.
we're trying to get health insurance. As my friend said, fame is an unfortunate benefit. I was like, oh, that's good. Fame is an unfortunate benefit. It's true. So all of a sudden, the idea of this book and being an expert and being asked to be on shows and having to make videos and having to sort of be out in the world in a bigger way and have people that I have no idea who they are buying my book and reading my book and posting reviews of it on Amazon and Goodreads.
Good
and
review. Really good stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
it's great reviews. And I finally got my first 1-star review, which made me feel like, oh,
You're
Now I'm
human.
a real writer. Somebody hates me.
You know what? I actually was writing an essay the other day. I was telling you about it, and the title of it is "Someone Will Always Hate You," and it's the truth. And but the next sentence is, "Let's just hope that you never find out who." You know, but there's someone who's always gonna, you know.
Well, here's the thing. This is one of the exercises in the book. This is a 1-second exercise, and it works for everything all the time, which there's not that many things you could say that about. So go ahead and think of the thing that if somebody said it to you, your feelings would be super hurt. Because we let these things stop us, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
I would
sure.
write a book, but I don't
Yes.
want anybody to think that, I'm too blithe or I'm too,
Yes.
that I think too selfish or that I think I'm all that or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So whatever that thing is that would make you go, ooh,
Yeah.
ow, that hurts my
Who
feelings.
do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? And
Right.
yeah, well,
She's so, what's the adjective of who do you think you are? She's so,
She's
well, and then
just-
there's that whole idea if you really do anything where you promote yourself, you're a narcissist, and it's
Right.
like, well,
okay, so somebody
mean,
thinks you're a narcissist. Somebody thinks you're
God.
selfish
How are
or
we gonna
all
get
above it
anywhere?
all, something
Right.
like that.
And then if you're
elitist.
down in the dumps, then you have low self-esteem.
Right.
right.
So let's just go the full spectrum.
So here's the exercise. So you take the thing that you're afraid somebody might say. Your work is, you're such a narcissist. And then you add the word sometimes.
Ah.
I'm such a narcissist sometimes.
Right.
And just hang out with it. Can you just be with this idea?
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to love it.
Right.
But can you just hang out with it? Like, I'm such a narcissist sometimes.
The wisdom is in naming it correctly.
And it's like, well,
Yeah.
Naming it
sometimes I am
correctly.
kind of a
Yeah.
narcissist. It's not my favorite part about myself. No, I don't love
But
that.
is
But
there
it does
anything
happen.
wrong with, narcissism doesn't necessarily also mean that you're not aware.
Exactly.
You know, how would any of the actors or I would say politicians that we love, but I don't know if we love any of them. But people that are in the limelight for something, authors, musicians that we love, how are they not in some way narcissistic?
Oh yeah.
Well,
has
or
to be.
self-centered. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I am
Yeah.
centered in myself. What are you centered in?
Yeah, right.
Well,
I certainly hope
yeah.
myself is the
Right.
center because that's what's
Yeah.
In
happening.
psychology class I took, the teacher said, if you're working for someone, guaranteed they're a narcissist. You're working for them.
Right.
And it's kind of like you have to think about that. And it's kind
Yeah.
of
But
like,
so somebody
okay.
says, oh, your work is so tedious. My work is so tedious sometimes. My work is so tedious sometimes. Okay. And also with the compliments, because sometimes the compliments can be even harder to take than the criticisms, right?
Yes, and you ask us to write down 3 compliments, which I think is really important to, because compliments are hard to hear. I think sometimes
We miss them a lot.
Yes.
Because, and this is a survival mechanism thing. It's, we're very sensitive. We're tribal animals.
yes, I love when you say this.
Right.
Explain this some more. I love
So
this.
we're tribal animals. We're very sensitive to the tribe because we
Yes.
know that we cannot survive alone.
Yes.
As much as we may wish that everyone would just go away, we know that we can't survive alone.
We don't want to be kicked off the island.
Right.
Right.
So our animal brain is very sensitive to being accepted, to being liked, to being useful, to, pulling our weight, all that stuff. Which is why you get everything done for everybody else and your memoir stays in a drawer and your
Right.
photos go unscrapbooked. Your room stays not cleared out, right? Get everything done for everybody else. So, and we're slightly negatively programmed, right? So it's much more important for our brain to remember the one berry that makes us sick than it is to remember the 99 delicious berries.
Yes, and you write this in the
Same
book.
thing
which I
happens
love.
with
Yes.
compliments, right? 99 compliments, 1 criticism. What do you hear?
The one criticism.
Of course, right? Everybody says, oh, you're so great. You're so wonderful. One person says one thing, and that's all you hear. Because it's more important. It's a survival thing. It's more important for us to remember that behavior that gets us criticized than it is for us to remember the behavior that's generally accepted. So we want to sort of force our attention back to the 99 delicious berries because there's a lot that's going on in your life that's great. There's a lot that people are loving and appreciating about you.
Right.
And you're not paying attention to it. So, and especially those compliments that make you sort of back away, oh my gosh, your work is so transformative. Oh my gosh, you saved my life. You changed my life. You go, my work is transformative sometimes.
And we're getting
We're
this
really
now.
getting
Right.
it.
Yeah, we're
well,
getting it.
I have a feeling that right now that there's somebody out there who's going, I want this book. I want this
Yes.
book. I want this book because
Yes.
you should want this book. So in
Yes.
order to get this book, there's a couple of things you could do. You could right now go online and order it, but you could answer a question right that Sam is going to give us, and you could win the book. So grab your pens, and the number is 323-843-2826. It's 323-843-2826. Sam's going to ask a question, and if you call in and get it right, then you get a copy of Get It Done. So don't procrastinate. Pick up the phone and call us.
And
Do
it
we
will
have
take
anyone in the
less
chat
than
room?
15 minutes.
It will.
That's right.
Do we have anyone in the chat room? Oh, we got 4 people in the chat room tonight. All right, great. Do you want to ask your fun question that we love?
Yes. Well, you ask your question first for the
Okay.
call-in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Sorry. I got so excited. I
I know.
forgot.
All right, so here's my question for the call-in, because this has to do with procrastination. With one of the reasons why sometimes people don't move forward on their projects, especially their creative projects, is because they're afraid of rejection, right?
Right.
We all again, tribal animals. We're very afraid of rejection. How many rejections did J.K. Rowling get for her first Harry Potter book?
What
Oh,
a
I used to know
great
this. It's a good question.
How many publishers turned her down?
What a great question.
There's 2 numbers that are sort of floating out there on the internet. I'll give you a hint. It's the higher one.
It's a higher
Okay. So while you all are Googling that, whoever's got the quickest, nimblest fingers to Google, we're going to wait for those people to call in.
And we're going to ask you to our one question, which we love, which is, if every time you walked into a room, a theme song played, what would that be?
I really like Talking Heads, and She Was.
Yeah, so we love that.
Oh,
Yes! We love you, Kurt!
You rock.
Child of the 80s.
And she was
Dance
lying
break.
in the grass,
You guys didn't tell me you had a dance break.
and she could hear the highway breathing, and she could see a nearby factory. She's making sure she is not dreaming. See the lights of the neighbor's house. Now she's starting to rise. Take a minute to concentrate, and she opens up her
And I think it's one of the only
eyes.
songs where a woman is not defined in her relationship to a man.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, and when I looked at the lyrics, because I, again, did not know this, and I started playing it, I went, oh, what great lyrics.
Yeah.
I really like those
Oh,
lyrics.
David Byrne is just
Genius.
genius. Yes. And I'm sure he spent more than 15 minutes a day on his genius.
Maybe not. Some people work fast.
How many? So did you get this book done on 15 minutes a day, or did you spend more time?
I started actually that way. One of
Okay.
I talk about this in the book too, because so I got the idea for the book, and I thought, oh, this is a pretty good idea, and then I was immediately paralyzed because I didn't know what the format should be, because
Oh,
of course I
mine
have to
is-
have it perfect inside of my mind before I can
Sure, I
possibly
know.
move forward on it. Right. Should it be a thought for the day thing? Should it be worksheets? Should it be like just stories?
Oh, we've got someone on the call. Oh, someone called in. Hold
okay.
on.
Oh, this is huge right now.
I know, we're so excited. Who's here?
Lynn Romanowski.
Oh, Lynn!
Oh, we're so excited.
Now, this is someone who gets it done, sister.
This is one of our sisters who really gets it done. Okay, Lynn. All
I
right.
think the answer is 8.
That is not correct.
Is it much bigger than that?
It's not much bigger, but it's bigger.
Can she
Okay.
guess again?
Can you guess again?
11.
Okay, did you see her? Do you
I
see her?
what? I can't. I don't know.
Oh, you're so
ju-
funny.
Just think of like like a very popular program that people think is a religion.
What?
Oh, right.
Right.
Sabrina,
I know.
your mind is too big. You know your mind is bigger than my
Oh,
mind. I can't go in there.
I love it. Okay, well, you are so close that we love you so much,
yes,
Lynn. We're
you're
going to give you the book
the
anyway. It's
12-step
12.
program.
Oh, you guys are great. I want to say I'm so thrilled to support this program. It's wonderful, and I've listened to a couple of the others. Great work. This lady is phenomenal. And you
She
guys,
is.
all 3 of you are just the best, and I wish you all great success.
Oh,
Thank you, Lynn.
Bye.
Did you have Lynn? Are you still there, or did you hang up?
Yeah.
Did you have a
I'm
question?
here.
Did you have a question for Sam before?
No, she was very helpful, though. Tell her I'm in smack in the middle of procrastination, and she's given me my answer. So thank you, Sam.
My pleasure,
Okay,
Lynn.
keep
Thank
taking
you.
notes, Lynn.
Thank you,
This
Lynn.
book is going
Okay.
to come
Lynn, we
to
love
you.
you. Thank
we
you.
love you. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So J.K. Rowling got 12 rejections, and then this is the other thing I found out while I was researching this question. So when Deathly Hallows came out, the last book, it sold 11 million copies in the U.S. and the U.K. alone on the first day.
Wow.
Wow.
The first day, 11 million copies. Right. So that idea you have that's been hanging around your head, that's been tugging on your heart, that little idea, like, I kind of want to do this photography project where, I kind of want to, I have this little idea. I have this. Yeah, that's it. That's your engraved invitation. That's as much as anybody gets.
What do you do when you have 6 of those ideas?
This is real important.
You
Real important.
can do a number of different things. And again, so it sort of depends on
Right.
who you are. I would go with the highest return on investment.
Okay.
What's going to bring you back the most of whatever it is you want first? What's going to bring you in the most money, or the most fans, or the most spiritual satisfaction, or the most...
Okay.
And you have an
Whatever.
exercise in here how to do that.
I do. There's a great prioritizing tool in there that will really help you get some clarity around that. Another way to think of it is to go with the project that's the easiest, that's the low-hanging fruit. Like, what's the one that's easiest to get off
Right.
the plate, you know?
So you feel like you've accomplished something.
Exactly. You get that cross off the list
Right.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have to tell you, reading your book, I had something from, I want to say 4 years ago. And I pulled it out before because I knew you were coming on. I knew what it was about. I pulled it out of the office in the neat paper bag. And then every day I've just like kind of looked at it. And I just said, okay. And now it's like it's just going to get out the door. And it's not something that is like according to your checklist that really, stirs my heart with passion. But it's important.
Yeah.
And it also will be checked off.
Great.
And so I love that.
And I'm telling you, I invite everyone, you can make this commitment to yourself right now that you will spend 15 minutes a day, every single day, before you check your email.
Yes.
Before you check your email, you will spend 15 minutes a day on the projects that matter most to you. And you will be shocked at the amount of progress you can make in 15 minutes. And you will be especially shocked at what happens when you're doing it 15 minutes every day.
Well,
For
because
a
all
week,
of a sudden
month, a
it's
year.
no longer 15 minutes. The time goes and you're like, it's
Sometimes you sit down and get up 4 hours later, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Other times you're like staring at a blank piece of paper for 14 and a half minutes. And guess what? That's fine. A little enforced boredom is good for a person.
And you give people options of how to spend that 15
Absolutely.
minutes, which is so great. And the other thing what you said, which I thought was great, you said to think the 15 minutes as much as like just part of your everyday routine as how you work out, you brush your teeth, you prepare your meals, and your 15 minutes of creativity.
Exactly.
It's and I think that's such a great way to look at things because it is. It is sometimes only 15 minutes. Who's the youngest Efron sister? Amy. She talked about what you kind of talked about your client, where she would say that when she was waiting for her kid's carpool, she would write.
Great.
And so it's like when you write in just those 4 or 5 minutes, it seems like nothing. But I include time to get out the pad, and everything. That's part of the 15 minutes, but it works.
It totally works. And, Joanna was asking me earlier about my sort of vision for the future. And that's very much a part of it. I would love to see the conversation about people's creativity and about their creative projects be part of the national and international conversation the same way that
Morning pages are.
morning pages
Right.
are, or your
Yes.
exercise routine is. I mean, you could
Yes.
go anywhere in the country and talk, I'm doing yoga. Oh, really? How's the yoga going? Oh, it's good. I like Pilates. Really? I've never tried Pilates. Of course you're doing that, right? It's just sort of assumed, of course you're doing something for your body every day.
Right.
right.
I want people to assume, of course you're doing something for your creativity every day.
So what is that? Yeah, I love how you give options for it, and I also love how you really make it clear that it's like, yes, do the research, but don't get bogged down in it. Yes, do the marketing, and so you make it so like some mornings, if you just don't feel like writing, you can do research. If you don't feel like doing research, you can do your blog, or you give all this. And the other important thing that you said already, but I just think it's so important is because I love this. I put it up on my little wherever. You build the airplane as you're flying it.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
kinda
little
like the
saying about
that's the-
entrepreneurship. I didn't make that up, but
that's
it's
like
a good
the
one. Yeah.
machete one. That's
Yeah.
like the machete
Yeah,
one. But
you're
it
figuring
is
out as you do it.
You build the airplane as you're flying it, and that to me is so important because you're already acknowledging the creative genius, which we said, and so often the creative genius just wants to say, no, everything has to be tied up now.
I think there's something about school that teaches us that we're supposed to know all the answers in advance. Because that's how you do well in school, right? Is you show
Right.
up knowing all the answers. And I hear this from people every day. Well, I want to do this thing, but I don't know how. I want to get advertisers for my blog, but I don't know how. I want to, have a web show. I don't know how. It's like, and they say that like it's some big brick wall. I'm like, well, of course you don't know how. How could you possibly know how? You've never done it before.
right.
The how is the invitation. The how, just change your tonality. I want to do this thing, and I don't know how. I have no idea how. How would a person go about something like that? Has anybody else ever done it? Probably someone has. I bet I could look into that. I bet I could try this. Maybe I could try that. I don't know how. So I'll tell you, a lot of the success I've had in my business, I've had just because nobody ever told me it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
Right.
I had no idea it was impossible, so I just did it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And you did say that pretty clear. You said you set the intention, then you move your feet, and I love when you said this, and I quoted this, and the universe rushes in, which is really true. It's so true, and it's just
Now the universe rushes in, but I mean, at times though, even it doesn't always look perfect.
Oh, almost never.
You know. I mean, like, look, we were sharing like with getting my CD,
Yes.
my song released. There have been a gazillion things, but it's still done and it's there and it's on iTunes and it's got there's a million things that happened, but it wasn't neat in how it happened.
Well, and that's it. And I wish I could find a way to teach this because, and so far I haven't, because it's an experiential thing.
Right.
When you are pre-decision, when you are stuck, when you are, in a self-imposed confusion and chaos, everything feels very hard and very muddy, and it feels like things have to be perfect, and it feels like you need to know things, and you're never gonna have enough money, and you're never gonna have the time, and all that stuff. Once you set an intention and move your feet, once you're actually engaged, you're actually doing the project, even if it's just 15 minutes a day in your car while you wait for the kids, your relationship to it changes. And so now all of a sudden you're in this dynamic relationship, and it's a little like love, right? I mean, in the theoretical perfect person, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Like you can daydream
we
about
had
that
a
all
show
you
on
want.
that. Yeah.
You can daydream about that all you
did.
want. But when you're actually in a relationship with someone, when you're actually in there working on it together, when you're actually in there trying to find ways to help that person be happier and healthier and communicate to them how they can help you have a happier life, it's not always pretty and it's not always neat, but it's what we're here for.
Right.
And it's a lot about like what you wrote as well, like sometimes the anxiety of all that relationship before you get into it versus once you get into it. Then it's like, it's the same thing about creativity. That
Absolutely.
whole
It's much worse in
anxiety.
advance.
Yes.
Now, I want to know, are you doing any signings of this anywhere? Are you going to be appearing anywhere or doing any workshops that people could come and get to know you better in person?
I do have a thing actually tomorrow evening at that I'm doing with the Northwestern University Entertainment Alliance that I think is almost sold out. But if you check out Northwestern University Entertainment Alliance, they can help you out.
Northwestern University Entertainment Alliance.
That's right. I'm doing a little workshop and book signing for them tomorrow. I don't think I've got anything else lined up immediately, but probably the best way is just to go to my website. Go to theorganizedartistcompany.com. And you'll see there's a free webinar. You can just give me your name and email address, and you'll get instant access to the webinar. And there's a ton of free articles. And that'll add you to my mailing list, too. So you get a bunch of poems and articles. You can write to me, tell me how about your projects are going. We'll be best friends. We'll be pen pals. It'll be great.
And on YouTube, there's so many of your wonderful videos that are really helpful.
See, this was a visibility thing. It took me a long time to get to those videos. And everybody was...
I love how your cat just joins in. I love that.
My cat.
What's your cat's name?
I have two cats. I've got Chester and Cooper, but Chester's the
Chester
movie
and
star.
Cooper.
Yeah,
He likes to get in there.
He does.
And I love that. And then you also do private coaching.
I do consulting. I do work with one-on-one with people, and then I have workshops. And again, once you're on my email list, you'll get notifications about all that.
Great.
Let's see. I mean, we really only have about 3 more minutes. But on that, I wanted to ask you, do you have a story that comes to mind of someone who has worked with you that really went from 0 to oh my godness, look what they did? I'm sure you have a lot of people, but is there one that you might be able to share with us?
I do. I actually just got an email from a client the other day. She goes, "I can't believe how much money is in my checking account."
Oh,
Which,
excellent.
That was great.
Wow.
That was like,
Tell her that she can go to iTunes and buy my song for 99 cents.
But I just concluded work with a private client who started with me a little less than a year and a half ago, 15 months ago maybe. And she had a full-time job that she was really draining and debilitating, but it was kind of paying her a lot. So it was but she really wanted to work full-time as a Reiki instructor. And so she took a couple of my courses, and then we did a little one-on-one work together. And sure enough, in a little over a year, she's quit her job. She's got her practice going. She's got her website up. She's got her blog going. She just did her Facebook page today. She's, out there and learning and doing it. And, same thing. She's like, there's so much to know. I'm like, I know, but you're doing it.
But you're doing it right. Good
So
for her.
you get fan letters.
I do.
So we just want to acknowledge before the end of the show that we get fan mail.
Oh yeah, we get fan mail. Do you know what? I didn't bring it. Did you bring the fan mail?
I didn't, but we
All
just
right,
want
next
to
week
say,
we're gonna say
we just
yeah.
want to say thank you. Keep
Yeah, thank you.
doing
I mean,
that.
we definitely get some fan mail, and if you have feedback for us, we would love to hear it. And next week we're going to read some fan mail. We have a great guest next week. Do you want to talk about Elliot?
Yeah,
You can talk
yeah.
about Elliot. I have notes if you
we
want.
have Elliot Kewen, who's coming on, and he is the founder of Reedley Street Farms out in, I want to say, Pacoima or Panorama City, in that area. And his whole mission is to bring the education of how our food gets to our table to children. Right. So he's doing that, and he is going to have some great giveaways fresh from the farm. And he is going to talk about how he's educating children, how he's educating adults, how he's changing this farmland, really land that people, might have at one time called undesirable, but he's using it into this wonderful mission of his. And he is just someone that we both get to meet anew again, a stranger that will become a new friend.
And what is his website so people can take a peek?
ReedleyStreetFarms.
Reedley, and that's Reedley. ReedleyStreetFarms.com. .org. It's actually .org. I'm pretty sure it's .org. All right, so we've got Elliot next week. A couple other things. You can just, go to YouTube and youtube.com/The Amazing Hour. You can watch any of our shows. You can certainly put comments on there. If you don't like the comment and you write something that, if you don't want, you want to write something nasty and negative, that's completely okay because I manage the channel and I'll just take it down. You can like us on Facebook. Please like us on Facebook. Tweet, like us on Twitter. Tell people about the show. We're having so much fun. We really are. We're hearing more and more great stuff about the wonderful guests that we're bringing on. We're so delighted. And
keep listening because you'll hear more about our sponsor.
Yeah, keep listening. Oh yeah, we've got a sponsor that's coming on, I think, for the month of September. Yeah. We've got fan mail that we're going to read, and that's it. So we are so grateful, Sam, to have you on the show. We want people to know who you are. We want people to buy your book, Get It Done. And if there is one thing today that you are in gratitude of, what might that be that you would share with our listeners?
I'm just grateful for the creative energy that I can feel coming from people. You can almost see it all over the world, people getting little ideas and taking little steps, because the world needs your art.
That's great.
The world needs your good work.
The world needs your art.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful for our wonderful guests. I really am. I feel like I am just like at the best university ever.
I know, we really
are.
I
feel so blessed.
We created our own university by doing this show.
Good job.
An amazing university.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for Carol Allen for emailing you and saying, take these girls, take their phone call, because it's a really great opportunity.
And that was
experience.
Your birthday gift from
It was
Carol.
My birthday gift. This book was my birthday gift from Carol Allen.
Oh my
Carol,
gosh.
we love you.
Carol Allen, we love you to death.
So
on your birthday show.
On my birthday show. So let's see. I think that's really it, you guys. Please go to iTunes and download the amazing song and send it as gifts to people. It's on CD Baby. It's on Amazon. It's on iTunes. And look, if she got if J.K. Rowling got 11 million in one day, I would like 1,100. Okay,
yes.
So let's have 1,100 people buy the song, and great people will feel inspired.
And you can listen to it while you do your 15 minutes of creativity.
That's right.
There you go, because you are amazing. So
you really are.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night. We'll see you next week.
That I am amazing.